Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome 80s podcast. This is Michael.
This is Lawrence. Hi, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. I got a lot of business to talk about.
It's
So much has
business
happened.
time.
So much has happened. First, something I probably should have mentioned 2 minutes ago, but it just came in my head 10 seconds ago. There's testing this weekend on our intro box. It's going to a professional this weekend to try to alleviate our issues.
Really?
So,
Okay.
I mean, you may have just thought like we took it and we were never going to give it back. And I'm not going to lie, that was the original intent. But we've consulted with someone who in the biz who knows what they're doing, and they're gonna try to see what they can work out our kinks. So
it's all about working out those kinks, Glenn.
It's all about working out those kinks. You know what I'm doing right after this? I already ordered, because there is such a long wait to do this, and only our town would have a wait like this. When I get home, if my calculations are correct, within 15 minutes, pizza cocks will be delivered to my door. I already ordered them because there's like a 3-hour wait.
I don't understand. They don't make those anymore, Glenn.
Oh, it's back. They came back on Wednesday, and only a shitty pizza place in our town with 300 and something restaurants would have a line out the door for hours of people waiting for just average pizza and pizza cocks.
Honestly, though, the pizza cocks are the best.
Yeah.
Best pizza cocks out there.
So I ordered a whole batch of them. I can't wait to go home, and
they're basically calzones that look like cocks.
Yeah, and this podcast was founded on them. So when I called the number online to order them, it came up in my phone with their name. We're not going to pronounce their name because years ago we tried to work out a deal with them for basically nothing, and they were kind of dicks about it. So, but I still support their pizza cocks. So anyway, they're like, it came up as it came up in my phone as their name, and I was just like, oh, maybe I'm calling the wrong number, and like someone's been getting this call for 2 years, but somehow they kept their number, and they had my name already in their system. Like it was just like, man, like it never closed. So pizza cocks to be delivered within the hour and a half.
Like it's always been there. Like it's always been a part of you. So they changed locations.
Yeah, they're over on Vernon in the old Bagelmans.
That's a bad location, but I think maybe with the students, it's a good location.
They've actually completely redone it. They've like doubled the place in size. It's crazy. I don't know. We'll go when you're here. I got to see you in person for non-podcast related activity on Monday. What a joy, huh?
We went and saw the future wildcard winners of the National League Central. It was
I like the new headphones. Where'd you get those?
No big deal. I got them for my birthday.
Oh, okay. So can I have some of your old headphones?
I didn't already give you headphones?
No, I got those really nice pair of headphones, and I can't fucking find them, and I don't know where they're at.
I think I've got some that used to be Britt Cotney's.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm really trying to find these ones because they're really nice, and I paid a nice little penny for them. I'm like, I have to think they're in this apartment somewhere, except that MH keeps it so immaculate. By the way, it's kind of lonely without MH. Like, I'm in the studio, MH, but he's never here anymore.
It used to be like your live studio audience, but now he's got a life, and it doesn't always have to involve you. Maybe that's a good thing, Glenn.
Well, I like people to be happy on my terms. Like, I want all of my friends to be happy, but on my terms, not on their terms. But I'm glad he's happy. I missed my little guy.
Well, it was on Monday. It was nice to see the Cubs actually win. So that was good.
It was nice to see him win. I was hoping I was going to have a bottle of champagne ready to pop when we opened the podcast, but they just couldn't do it in the ninth today. So we have to wait until tomorrow or later tonight, hopefully. And then those players are going to be not worth anything tomorrow because Resident Yoda Joe Madden has promised a big ol' ass party when they clinch, which could be tonight without them even on the field. So speaking of MH, he delivered to us a copy of Summer School on digital versatile disc, DVD, and that's what it stands for, I think.
Yep.
I would like to give this to one of you guys. So here's the deal. What's our email address? host@awesome80s.com.
Yep.
Send us in either 1 to 100 sentences why you think the movie we're going to review is awesome or is not awesome. And we will select one at random or just whatever we choose. And we will send you this to you, Summer School, Mark Harmon, Christy Alley. Courtney Thorne-Smith, right? Is she in this movie?
Yes, yes, of course, yes.
And she's in the movie we're doing today. So there you go.
Yes.
There's your tie-in. So thank you, MH, for the donation. We look forward to giving that away. Never been opened. Digital versatile disc. Never been opened. You like to say things weirdly just for humor, right?
Yeah. Well, I drove a lot on Monday, so I was just doing what I could to.
And thank you for that.
To keep myself awake.
Thank you for that. It was a great time. John
Wow.
Cusack, 15 rows in front of us. Johnny C.
I was like, there. Oh, they put him on the Jumbotron. I think it was yesterday, the day before, they had, while they were playing a Blackhawks game, there was 3 Blackhawks in the crowd.
Yes, because they did not travel.
Yeah. Whoa, Coach Q. We don't travel.
So, any other things business-wise, or can we just get down to the nitty-gritty? Because I have lots of things I want to say.
I did want to have a special thanks to Doiner for his donation, and other people that do donate. We do thank you so much, but Doiner's the most consistent. We do thank him so much.
Yes. And happy birthday, Doiner! We can do this legally.
Happy holidays.
Happy birthday.
Happy holidays
to Doiner. Happy
to
birthday,
you.
Doiner.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
There's I listened to him on the Drunken Zombie podcast, and he is a contributor to the Drunken Zombie podcast network. He does most of the wrestling blog there. If you want to catch up on a wrestling blog, you can listen. You can read what Doiner has to say at
Happy holiday
at the Drunken Zombie podcast. But he had a voice call in to the Drunken Zombie podcast network, and I don't know why he brought it up, but he brought up how he did not like Goonies, how it was not one of his favorite films. I know you're okay taking money from random people, but I do not know how I feel about taking money from people that do not appreciate Goonies.
Hey, Doiner, keep sending them checks, buddy. Keep sending them checks.
I mean, pretty much between Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and the Goonies, I've based my entire life off of those films.
I think we got to send Doiner a birthday present, right?
Well, we got new stickers. I don't think he's got any new stickers.
We got to come up with something for Doiner.
We'll come up with something better.
Yeah, so thank you, Doiner. Also, a shout out to our main man, D Rose. Our D Rose, not the world's D Rose. He's at home recovering, which gave him some time yesterday to catch up on the Awesome 80s podcast, and he gave us a shout out on his personal Facebook page, which we always appreciate. So thank you, D Rose, for being back on the horse. I hope you're all in the mend. I know I just spoke with you the other day and you sounded well, so I hope you continue to be well. And I look forward to seeing you soon, D Rose. So
real quick, what kind of t-shirt are you wearing right now, Glenn?
This is Cheers. It's from Cheers. It's a bar in Boston.
Okay, I've heard of it. Okay.
Our next episode, we have an old guest coming back, which is awesome. The lady we started another podcast with that we never aired, but I still think we have them all one day.
We could just put it out on our feed.
I don't see why we don't, honestly.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to just put it out there. But anyway, that's another conversation. But Liz is coming back, and we're going to review Fatal Attraction, and that is very exciting. So we will have a date for that here in the coming days. So big shout out to MF Jones, not just the normal shout out because he's awesome, but he saved my ass last night so we could do this movie, and I'm very thankful for him. After I watched the movie, I'm very thankful I saw it again. I was unable to locate the movie in the traditional sense in which I locate movies, and I did locate it 3 separate times, but none of the links I could legal links that I paid for worked. So he was able to pay for his own version of this movie and then send it to me this morning, and that was very nice of him. And it allowed me to watch this movie today. This morning, and I'm very excited the fact that we're finally doing this movie. It gets mentioned every year around this time because it has kind of loose football ties, as back to school ties, and we've never done it. And I'm glad we've never done it because I really enjoyed watching it today, and I'm really glad that this movie is in my life. What movie are we talking about?
The 1986 classic, Lucas.
The Pucus.
Luca Trachea. What did they call him?
Luca, yeah, like something
Whatever
like
it
that.
was.
Trachea. So I found this movie late in life. I may have watched it as a youngster, or at least parts of it, but it never really registered. I believe I saw this movie around the time I was living with the spider, and I think I don't know if it just came on one day or whatever, but I remember when I found this movie, I just loved it, and I watched the shit out of it, and then I just kind of put it out of my mind. Like I always, from then on, knew it existed, but I, for whatever reason, like I don't remember falling out of love with it. I just stopped thinking about it, and that's a shame. I learned today because this movie is really good and in my life really powerful. How do you feel about it?
I remember seeing it probably the peak of the Coreys, maybe 87, 88. Like when did License to Drive first hit HBO? Like 88, 89?
License to Drive was 88. 88.
Well, I mean, I
Oh, it
think
hit HBO in 89. Hit HBO in
yeah.
89.
So I
Sorry.
mean, when that was hitting HBO, then they also played this as well. I remember it's like this isn't License to Drive. This has Corey in it. And the girl from Goonies? I don't understand what's happening. What's going on? And yeah, this was a lot more serious than I remember. Like this, and I guess we just did My Bodyguard, and then we did Heathers, which is kind of a darker comedy, but does take a more serious look. It's not rainbow and lollipops and hey, isn't it awesome to be in the 80s? Look at my sunglasses. It takes a little more serious look at high school in the 80s.
So I think if I were to come to you and say, "Hey, listen, I have this movie you've never seen. Uh, from the 80s. Let's role play it. You've never seen this movie. Hey, Michael, I have this movie. You should watch it. It's called Lucas."
Whoa. If it's in the 80s, does it have Corey in it?
It's got a Corey in it. But guess who else it has?
Does it have one of the people from the Goonies?
Actually, weirdly enough, it does. That's really random you would ask that.
Is Charlie Sheen or one of his brothers in this movie?
Amelia. Yeah, Charlie Sheen's in it.
What?
And guess who else? Winona Ryder.
She looks young. She looks like she's 12. Like
this has got to be one of her first, right?
It's her first film.
Hey, do you remember that girl who starred opposite Jim Belushi for 10 years in that sitcom no one watched? She's in it too.
You know what? I'm pretty sure my dad watched it, but whatever.
No. Well, I'm sure he did. I love your dad. So this isn't one of the movies that Winona Ryder is quote unquote known for, and she didn't have a huge start. And we got to remember that there was a time in this world where Winona Ryder kind of was the it actress. I know that seems strange post shoplifting. And why did that ruin her career so much? I mean, it's like one of the least offensive things a big star has done.
She wasn't freebasing. She wasn't mainlining heroin. She wasn't drinking and driving. She was just like, hey, I'm going to stick this in my purse. Nobody's looking. Let's just do it. Come on, let's do it.
So this was her first movie, Lucas. She did 87 Square Dance. Check out this 88. Beetlejuice, a movie called 1969 I think that's Kiefer in that Sutherland.
Yeah.
And then Heathers, all in 88. That is in 90 she did Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael, Edward Scissorhands, and Mermaids, which are all three pretty serious movies. She went on a hell of a run, just a hell of a run.
I think it was like 88 to like 94. She was
longer than 94.
No, I think like 94.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Okay.
94 was Reality Bites and Little Women. But then 95 was How to Make an American Quilt, which may not have been my type of movie, but it was pretty big. 96 was Boys. That was pretty successful, or at least big. 90, or that was also in 96 was The Crucible. Yeah, no. Alien Resurrection in
88 to 94.
Larry Sanders Show in 98. Girl Interrupted 99. Autumn in New York. And
it felt like Girl Interrupted was kind of her comeback a little bit. And then once again, she was in the Black Swan as well.
Well, yeah, she went many years without a notable credit. I don't know. I mean, I've always enjoyed Winona Ryder's career. I just don't know why this, of all things, like seemed to be the thing that sidetracked her. I'll never understand it, but that's fine. I don't have to understand it.
Well, I think she always played like a kind of a crazy person, and then when she just looked crazy. Like every time, she must have been on some kind of like antidepressant or anti-anxiety medicine. Like every time they showed her in court, she looked crazy.
I'm sure she was going through a spell. Britney Spears fucking shaved her head off, her hair off in public, and now she makes like $40 million a night in Vegas. For Christ's sakes, just saying. Winona, I think, was peak of her powers at Reality Bites. Like that role was Lydia was meant for her.
Can you define irony for me, Glenn?
Well, it's
this is the thing, and then
it's, you
so
know,
it's
I mean,
real, and then
you know, if you got time to lean,
you got time to. I haven't been working here for 2 months for nothing.
So, this movie, it starts out with Lucas. Can we agree with the glasses? Corey Haim is not Corey Haim. The only time in this movie he's recognizable as Corey Haim are the couple scenes where he doesn't have glasses.
Yeah. Have you seen Silver Bullet?
I don't. Maybe. Doesn't sound like one. I'm sure I've seen it.
It's a werewolf movie. Anyway, he's in a wheelchair. There's he plays such a wimp, and you're not used. I mean, especially later on, it felt like he decided that he's not going to play a wimp in any movie. He's going to be a wisecracking little kid. That's what he wants to play.
Yeah, Dream a Little Dream. He was kind of a wisecracking little kid and a wimp. But anyway, so he's out there. He's catching bugs with his net. He meets up with the redhead playing tennis. I'm just going to call her Red throughout the movie. I hope you don't mind. I've decided that when I refer to people by characters' names, half the time I get mixed up, and then the people are probably mixed up at home. So lately I've been just calling them by something.
I was going to call her Andy from the Goonies.
I'm going to call. Well, you call her. I'm going to call her Red. You call her what you want to call her.
But she's Maggie in this. Margaret.
Yeah. So they play a little tennis, or she plays tennis, kind of watches. She's like, let me take you home. Her dad left her mom for a 19-year-old jeans model, classic 80s story.
She's only 3 years older than his daughter.
Yeah, right. You got it. He's 14. We find out he's not a communist right off, which is good. I just watched that Walt Disney documentary. I learned a lot about communists, so I'm glad that she asked him right away. I mean, that's not a weird question or anything, but it was funny. He lives in a mansion. She's new to town, and she just wants to make a friend. He's safe. You can tell right away. She sees him, and she's like, he's safe. He's not going to try to do anything with me. He's a nerdy little kid. He's interesting. He's got 6 airplane graveyards in this movie
to take people to. The first scene where he meets her, it's an extra long slow-mo shot by the director while she's David Seltzer, who also wrote this, and she's just serving tennis balls back and forth in slow-mo. Ooh, look, there's my bloomers. Oops, my skirt went up a little bit. And it's extra long and extra slow-mo. And it's kind of pervy a little bit, but he is 14, so.
And you're in your 30s. I'm not going to give you your age, but you're pervy too. Everyone's pervy.
It's the way it is. But it felt like she was like, well, even though he's perving at me, he's still not a threat.
Right. So she wants to get contact information. She wants to kind of meet up with him, and he's like, no. My family's very private. Obviously, we're very wealthy. Why don't you? Oh, that's it. Then she leaves. Next scene is she comes back. We're presuming a day later or so. He's mowing the yard. Also very Can't Buy Me Love. And by the way, we got to be coming up on movie 200 soon. I know we're 250 something in episodes, but my idea for movie 200, and we may never do this, but is to go back and re-review Can't Buy Me Love, because as we've gone through almost 200 movies, it seems to me that Can't Buy Me Love has more either influence or similarities to more 80s movies than any other movie of the genre.
Part of me also wanted to do 3 O'Clock High as well.
We already did it, and I don't want to redo that piece. That's fine. 500. We'll do it at 400. 400. We'll do 3 o'clock.
But another thing, there's a lot of similarities between this. The whole time I was watching this, I was thinking to other similarities that were in 3 O'Clock High.
Okay.
Well, I guess also in I was thinking about Can't Buy Me Love as well too.
Yeah, he's riding the lawnmower like Ronald. We don't need another Donald Miller situation. She shows up. Right away we can tell he's both a liar and kind of a spaz. So she wants him to hang out, but he's helping his gardener. A lot of rich kids are very grounded. They help their gardener do yard work around the house, obviously. But he'll meet her at the tennis courts at 3. Hey, what day, Michael?
Tuesday.
Every day.
Oh, that's right. He's available. I'm available every day for you.
At 3 o'clock. Yeah, you can tell, obviously, he's lying about the house just in his body language and his mannerisms and his uncomfortability. And they go and play tennis, and he really spazzes out. But then, and she looked kind of frustrated. Like, she wanted to have a volley, and he's sitting there heading the tennis ball off his head. Little jerk. Anyway, I hate that kid next to me when I'm on the tennis court. I'm trying to get a good sweat in, get my arm extended, and there's this kid over there bouncing the ball off his head, trying to impress some ginger teenager. Mm-hmm. So he teaches her all about nature, and we always reference the Airplane Graveyard, made famous Can't Buy Me Love. And if you're not familiar with what that is, every guy, well, not every guy, I know I always wanted that special place I could take someone where I seem really down to earth and knowledgeable, yet kind of nerdy in a cool way. Like if you were single now, which I'm glad you're not, but if you were, you'd be like, hey, you got to see my backyard.
Okay.
And you would take them to your wiffle ball field. And then you would sit there under the stars on a blanket. And in fact, why don't you do this with your wife tonight, just so I don't feel guilty about bringing this up.
Okay.
But you would just sit there and you guys would look at the stars, and you'd connect a baseball bat in the air, and you tell them how Andre Dawson hit the ball that hit across the street, knocked on someone's door in 1987, and you'd fill her with all sorts of Cubs lore in hopes of touching her boob. Cindy Sandberg style.
Corncob dress.
Corncob dress. So then she tries to teach him to drive. And then
it's a great montage. They got a great montage.
Sneaks her under in like a sewer pipe or a drain pipe, or well, probably like a storm drain, up through a manhole so they can listen to the orchestra and cuddle.
He's into insects and classical music. He's got his portable tape deck he takes with him everywhere he goes inside his backpack so he can listen to I think he was also doing Swan Lake when he was watching Andy from the Goonies play her tennis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So right there, you could tell he's really getting the feels for her when they're sitting in that storm drain listening to the orchestra, and he's like, I wish school never had to start. Because I think in his mind, he knows.
I'm cool when it's summertime, but when we go back to school, I'm not going to be cool.
So school starts. Right away, we see the nerdy Winona Ryder. I don't understand why. Like, I mean, they made her trying to look bad, but she still, to me, looked beautiful in like a high school sort of way.
To me, she just looks super young.
Yeah. Well, now you just made what I said creepy. I'm just saying, like, she had astonishing beauty. To use a story from VJT about DM. See what I did there? Went way back.
Okay.
Brought it back. So she was the type of girl in high school I would have been attracted to. But Lucas has no time. No, he got no time for that. In the great words of American poet Miss Brown, nobody got time for that. And he had no time for her. So school starts. He's trying to find Red. Like, he's going against the crowd. He's doing everything he can. But the school assembly starts. He's sitting with his fat, nerdy friend who's not really that fat, but they keep calling him fat. So I don't know. Whatever.
He tried out, and he's the fat kid. He's the fat kid in the movie.
He's not Dennis Blunden fat.
He's not fat. We've seen a lot of fat kids in the 80s films. And this kid is like
not
overweight.
So,
like if he worked out for a month, he'd be a skinny kid.
Or he had some tone.
Maybe get some tonage, you know?
So he gets on stage. The football team's getting introduced. They kind of use him as a joke. And he gets on stage and he just acts the fool. Like, that's what everyone wants from him. Dance, monkey, dance. And he's more than happy to give him that illusion that he's like cool with it and he'll go along with it, because that's just how he copes, is what my therapist would say.
And he did a lot of like hand motions, little I mean, he did the best he could to entertain the crowd, and he didn't understand at first like why they thought it was funny, but he did the best to play it off the best he could.
It reminded me of like when we used to go to the Catskills back in the 50s when you would
Yeah,
bring your
exactly.
lady, I'd bring mine, and we'd drive up there, and it reminded me of kind of a Catskills type act. Not to say Jewy, I'm just saying it was very Catskills.
Yes.
Nothing. I didn't get anything out of you. It's like if I can't even, what's the purpose of saying things if you don't even get upset about them?
Well, the big guy, the big bully, Tom Hodges, he was in Revenge of the Nerds too, and he plays Bruno. He does okay as the big bad bully, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think. Here's the thing, he wasn't. There's different types of bullies in these movies. You know, he wasn't supposed to be a Zapka-esque bully.
No, he was like one of those guys who are like, well, the people that are bullying, they don't even realize they're bullies. Like, no, we're just joking around. We're just joking around.
Yeah, he's just in it for like the jokes, and he thinks it's funny. He's just an immature person and not necessarily a full out on bully like Zapka. I mean, Zapka-esque. You got to write this shit down. I'm on a roll today.
Okay, we'll put it on our t-shirt, Zapka-esque.
So Lucas leaves, and Red automatically, she's a smart girl. She's, probably got closer in 2 weeks to him. It seems probably anyone ever has. So she follows him out. She basically explains, like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that person. Why don't we go to the movies tonight? He's in it, but then once again, she mentions his parents, like, hey, maybe our parents could get together. And then, like, he kind of snaps again. Lucas, well, we'll get to it. I think it's too early to bring it up. But yeah, he's once again very sensitive about the parents. If you have watched this movie with any sort of an adult mind, you could have told earlier in the movie, like I stated, that he's obviously covering something. He's obviously doesn't live in that house, and there's obviously something wrong in his home. So one thing he is, though, is he is very friendly with Charlie Sheen, who's one of the other football players, the wide receiver in this movie. What's Charlie Sheen's character's name?
Cappy.
There you go. So he's friendly with Cappy. So like Lucas is walking past the street. Bruno kind of harasses him. Nothing horrible. Just kind of moves his car up.
After watching this today, or yesterday, I was thinking, I never heard this line before ever, but Cappy was describing the way Lucas looked last year, and he talked about how he had this issue with gravity, and how Lucas would talk about how he had problems with gravity, and he walked all hunched over. Do you remember that line in the movie?
No, I don't even think I caught it this time.
I'll tell you, he started talking about how, Lucas is kind of a weird egg. I think it was when they were washing the clothes, and he started talking about how
out during that.
Yeah, I kind of did too. But he was talking about how Lucas had a problem with that gravity, and he kept walking hunched over close to the ground. I'm like, so obviously he's the weird kid. And Cappy was thinking, yeah. Charlie Sheen was like, yeah, I'll just be nice to this kid. This kid deserves a friend. At least somebody be nice to him.
And Charlie Sheen actually brings up a couple times and then explains in that very washing room scene we'll get to, laundry room scene, sorry, that he wasn't always nice to Lucas either. But then when Cappy was sick, Lucas like brought his homework to him and helped him out. And Cappy's like, I don't know why, to this day, I don't know why he did it, but you could tell that meant something to Cappy. Like he's, Cappy's the cool jock who with the heart of, with the heart of gold type character. But like, you could tell like that meant something to him, that like probably none of his other friends do anything like that. We also get the feeling throughout the movie that CTS, Courtney Thorne-Smith, who's dating Cappy, is a cheerleader, that she's kind of a B, very insecure probably. So, like through 80s have taught us, most of these popular cheerleader girls, they're very insecure and they just put on a mask. And that's what she probably did. We just didn't get enough to explore her character because she was not an essential role.
Well, especially like even in the relationship, she felt it was super fragile, and maybe it was fragile,
Well, obviously. So anyway, they're going to go to a movie. Once again, Bruno is kind of a dick at the concession stand. The fat kid orders lots of food. Bruno's making fun of him. The fat kid stands up to Bruno. I think
especially like
I'm gonna call him the not fat kid.
Yeah, but especially like Bruno, like he didn't understand why they were getting pissed at him. Like he had no idea he was being a bully.
Right, and everyone around him does, but he just doesn't get it. Which there are people in life who just don't get it. That happens.
And then we have Charlie Sheen step in, but we also have Jeremy Piven there as well. This is the first
Oh,
time.
I was going to mention him earlier. Yeah.
And then he, honestly, this is the best shape he's probably ever been in his life. He looks good.
True. So Piven, from Chicago, next door neighbors with the Cusacks growing up. Piven's mom was the Cusacks drama teacher, or strike that, reverse it. I think reverse.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, so this movie takes place in Chicago, was filmed in Chicago. We have some viewer mail we'll go over here before we end, discusses that briefly. So anyway, this was filmed at a high school in Chicago. Chicago is referenced just a little, not a whole lot. But so yeah, right up his alley. So he was probably right there for the auditions, got the role. So they're in the movies. They don't really show much of that, but afterwards, they're gonna ride with them. Lucas and Red get to ride in Cappy's convertible with all of his peeps, including Jeremy Piven. The convertible, and a bug hits them. They pull over.
They freak out.
Yeah, they freak out. It's locusts, which Lucas has already given kind of a little locust speech earlier in the movie about how they 17 years. Although I don't know, his dates I thought changed, but anyway,
yeah,
they hibernate for.
There was some shells for the cicadas on my the benches I built for the wiffle ball field, just out there hanging out.
Jake used to collect those when he was younger. He had bags of them, and I wouldn't let them in the house. And then
they're just weird. It looks like an alien from Aliens. It looks like some super fucked up, especially those shells for the cicadas.
Grandma just texted me a picture that she's at Flingers right now.
Oh,
damn it! I did it again. Oh well.
I'll edit it out.
Shut up. All right, I got to respond to Grandma. Grandma had me come over yesterday because a big old weed plant grew in her front bushes.
Are they just keep growing there?
Well, this is the first time I saw that one, and it was big, and I'm like, yeah, that's marijuana, Grandma. She goes, do you know anyone who would take it? I was like, no, Grandma, just get rid of the pot plant.
Well, it's all ditchweed. It's not.
Right. She's like, it probably doesn't have any potency. And I was like, Grandma, just get rid of the weed. All right. I love my grandma very much. But there was, in fact, marijuana in her front yard. Lucas is upset. Oh, I'm sorry. So he's teaching all these like jocks about the locusts and about, their life. And he's got this baby one and he's holding it. And then Jeremy Piven's dumbass squashes it. And Lucas is hurt by that. And he's really frail, and I mean, obviously, he has every right to be frail, and emotionally, he's had a hard life. We'll find out, but that really upset him, and it really cut him to its core. And maybe at that point, Red's like, I mean, it's cool, but maybe he's a little too sensitive. There's also this underlying suicide thing throughout the whole movie, which maybe I only caught because we just did Heather's, but like the band teacher supposedly blew his head off, and then they keep talking about Romeo and Juliet throughout the whole movie committing suicide.
Yeah.
It was just weird. I don't know. It was just thrown in there for almost no point. Like the band teacher, maybe originally there was a conclusion to that story, but there wasn't in the final cut, and it just seemed very odd. Like
maybe it just shows how people. Tall tales, like the telephone.
Yeah, I thought about
tell people some stuff, and then all of a sudden it's something else.
So, Lucas is in band, which has been mentioned. So while he's playing in band, Charlie Sheen is in home ec, and the home ec teacher. This is something a home ec teacher probably would have done in the '80s, because I remember some of my
I want
teachers.
A big, strong man to come up and help me. I want a big, strong man.
Some of my teachers did some pretty off-color things, but home ec teacher knew he was going to get strawberry shake all over him, but yet still let him do it.
Are you ready? Are you done? Okay.
And now he's got to go to the laundry room. What high school had a laundry room where students could just go wash clothes? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, ours had a washer and dryer, but it wasn't like where kids could just go.
Right. So now here's a scene that I think dragged out maybe 2 minutes too long, but it's Red and it's Charlie Sheen, Cappy, and they're washing his shirt, so he's very muscly.
I'm a home ec teacher who's got a big strong man who I'm gonna just get filthy, and then I'm gonna send him to this laundry room with another
virginal girl,
and then I'm gonna have him take his shirt off and just see what happens.
Hey, Michael,
kick some balls around.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Glenn.
Do you have heavy thoughts?
I sometimes.
So they're talking about like what gets him going, and one thing she really likes about Lucas is that he has heavy thoughts. And
Oh,
she
that's
asks
right.
Charlie Sheen, "Do you have heavy thoughts?" And he goes, "Yeah, sometimes. I mean, not right now." So yeah, then they talk about Lucas a little. They kick the ball around a little. They kind of, I don't know, dance, make out. I don't know.
Well, they don't get to the actual make out part, but you can
Yeah.
tell it's happening. There's a meet
Oh, you're
cute
right.
here,
You're
and this
right.
is
Yeah.
what's happening.
So at this point, this inspires Red to go out for cheerleading, which Lucas hates because he's already mentioned how he hates jocks and cheerleaders, and it really makes him judgy. And this is one of the things I like about this movie is Red. She doesn't take it from Lucas. She calls him on his bullshit, and she's just like, "You you are being the judgy one. You're the one who isn't focusing, who focuses on what people's area is in life. You just have fun. I just want to have fun and meet people. Is that so wrong?" And Red and Lucas does not like that. You could tell that most people probably just let him get away with this. Like Winona Ryder would let him get away with his bullshit.
Well, like even with us, like we've talked about how football is stupid and CTE and Dave Dewerson, Junior Seau. But if you find joy in playing football, just play the football, you know?
Yeah, just play it. So Lucas's next move is to he basically traps Red into going to the dance with him. Him and Charlie Sheen basically set up a double date for Charlie and Cappy and his lady, and Lucas and Red, without even consulting Red. And she gets pissed off. She runs into the girls' room. At which point, Winona Ryder's right there. She doesn't see that, but then she asks him out on a date. He denies her. He says no. And then here's one of the most absurd scenes of the whole movie. Is now we cut to the lunchroom. And the jocks are squeezing oranges with
But
their
there are
muscles.
other fruit, yeah. And they're like flexing in different ways, like under the arms, above, or
And they're doing
that's
it
it.
like between the head. I don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever.
So at this point, and you could tell like they're sitting there at lunch, and Winona, she just longs for Lucas's touch.
Well, like even like when the first day of school, when Lucas is just staring at Andy from the Goonies, he's just staring at her. And then when Winona Ryder, she's not even looking at the teacher; she's just staring at Lucas, like, "I love you, Lucas. I love you."
So at this point, we kind of get into we're transitioning. We're probably halfway through the second act. Courtney Thorne Smith does not want to go to the dance with them, with Red and Charlie Sheen, or Red and Lucas, because she sees that there's something happening between Cappy and Red, her boyfriend. She sees the way he looks at her, and vice versa. So she throws down the gauntlet, and then they break up, and she's basically out of the movie from that point on. So we don't even see them break up. Just she gets out
And
of the
then she
car.
moves to California, moves in with her sister, and becomes a surfer, and goes to high school there
Melrose Place? Oh, the summer school. Gotcha.
from summer school. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So anyway, there's some. So Lucas shows up. You can tell he spent money that he probably doesn't really have much of. And then she's in her dress, which surprised me because I was like, oh, she's not even gonna be. She's gonna be like jeans, but she's in her dress, and she comes out and she's like, I'll just pay you for your outfit. And he's like, no, let's just go. And she's like, well, Cappy
Yeah,
can't go.
I rented the tux, but I bought the tie and the shoes. This is I can keep this.
So Cappy can't go, and he's like, well, that's fine. We'll just go without him. She's like, well, he's here. I'm gonna stay with him. And he finds out like, and he invites him to go to the dance with them, and then he thinks that Charlie Sheen would be the third wheel, but he quickly finds out that they want to go to pizza, and he would be the third wheel, and he just leaves. He's upset.
How can you go to get pizza at a time like this?
I thought you were depressed. So Lucas goes to the dance, but it's an outdoor dance, and he just one of the guys. But he sits across the lake from the dance. There, Miss Ryder shows up. They have a weird talk about suicide, Romeo and Juliet, and then that scene ends weirdly. To which point we see Lucas. He sees Cappy and kissing Lucas, the object of Lucas's affection. It makes him more mad. So once again, he angrily rides off on his bike. He angrily rides his bike a lot in this movie. Lots of bike anger.
Super angry.
And by the way, I wish I would have watched this movie earlier because there's always that tension when you go when you want to do the first kiss and you don't know if they want it. Charlie Sheen in this movie, the best way ever to kiss a girl. Are you interested in wide receivers? What's that? It's the position I play. Well, kind of. Are you interested in cars? No. Are you interested in being kissed?
I don't. Yeah.
Yes. I thought that was awesome. What a great line. Oh, I wish I could. You have a boy. I can't teach my son that line, but I want to teach your son that line.
Okay. I'll have to have another baby.
Okay, do that.
Okay.
Um.
You don't think Jake would do it?
Oh, I don't want to be the one who teaches him. I
Okay.
can't do that, can I?
Don't you want him to make out?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay.
So Lucas does the only rational thing he can, which is he joins the football team. He's told by the coach he cannot join the football team. He threatens to sue the coach based on
he just keeps running out there.
Yeah. And the coach basically the principal gets involved. The principal's like, I have to meet your parents. And he's like, well, my dad's a lawyer. His dad keeps having different jobs throughout the movie. Whatever it suits him, that's what his dad does. And the principal's like, that's fine. You can be on the team, but not until I talk to your parents. And he's like, can I at least just suit up and stand there? And he says, no. So it's a big bummer, but
Glenn, did you hear about Lucas?
Oh, what?
It's suicide. What do you mean? He's gone out for the football team. And this is from the Fat Friend.
Yeah.
And he kind of does a thing that they do in 3 O'Clock High and other 80s movies. Like, he's constantly got his video camera with him, and he's videotaping everything everywhere. And especially like in 3 O'Clock High, they do this. But I just thought it was awesome throwback to the 80s, because, I mean, all of a sudden everyone's got their VHS on their shoulder camcorders and people recording everything. And that's what the Fat Friend decides to do, especially from halfway through the film on. He's just the guy with the video camera.
So Lucas has to go back to the locker room. He decides he's going to go. He's going to take a shower. Bruno's making fun of his dick because, Bruno's a bully, but just an immature bully. He's not like a classic bully. So Bruno's making fun of his dick. Lucas then drops some logic and is basically like, well, if your dick's bigger in the shower right now, that's because you're probably a gay. And he uses another word I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
But
and Jeremy Piven, I don't know. Like, Jeremy Piven, like, sometimes he's a good guy, sometimes he's a bad guy, but he does nothing but he gives shit to everybody. He's an equal opportunity shit giver.
Exactly. So everyone just like kind of makes fun of Bruno's
dick situation.
And so they strap Lucas down on the table. They take out the really hot
your muscles get tight. Like, honestly though, like, I don't remember the first part of the movie, but from when he joins the football team on, like, that's what's in my mind, like, when I think of Lucas.
Right, because the football aspect of it's a little iconic. So they strap him on, they put him on the table, they put the red stuff.
You assume somebody on the football team grabbed the stuff that loosens up your muscles, the super hot cream, and puts it on his balls.
On Lucas's balls.
I
thought it was more kind of a butt situation. Balls,
well, I think
I guess all in that whole area. They taint it up.
It's definitely it's in the taint.
So
Glenn, it's like, yeah. Glenn, can you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
It's like right there. Do you know, like right there?
Yeah. So Lucas runs out of the locker room. He ends up getting locked out. He's only in a towel. He has to run across the whole football field, past the cheerleaders, past the track team, past the band. And he runs and he sits on a water fountain to get the water where the hot stuff is on his taint.
There's probably like 3 or 4 scenes in the movie where the literal entire school is laughing at him.
Yeah.
And that's one of those scenes. Like, everyone the people in the band drop their instruments. The people practicing whatever the hell it is they're practicing, they put it down, they turn around and just laugh at Lucas.
But then he gives the speech, "You can't make me quit, ever. You can't make me quit. Lucas will not quit. You can push him, but he's not going to quit," which at this point now has direct correlation to the 90s movie that we've talked about doing, an 90s movie or an 80s movie made in the 90s for Angus. And this movie has a lot of similarities to Angus. One's just a big fat kid and the other's a small kid. But football, science, like, this is a very similar movie. I don't want to talk too much about Angus because I do want to do that one, but they both have that same thing. Like, you can keep pushing me, but I'm never going to back. I'm always going to be here. So
honestly though, like, just the character himself of Lucas kind of reminded me of like what his interests were like identical to my brothers. Like if me and my brother were combined, like he loves bugs, he loves animals. Like he worked at the pet store, he's worked at 2 different zoos and 3 different aquariums in his life, and it's like he's this bug kid. He does not want to be cool. Then all of a sudden, this girl comes in his life, and he wants to be cool. Like my brother wouldn't care about that, but I know I would try to be cool. I would join the football team for a girl.
So, Lucas runs from Red. He hides under an underpass, I guess. Anyway, he hides up in there.
It's where I go to think. It's one of my airplane graveyards.
Yeah. So Red knows where he's gonna go. She calls him out. Like they basically, like she explains, listen, I'm just not attracted to you. He gives her the scientific reason, the survival of the fittest, Darwinism reason why she is not attracted to him. And then he still goes in for the kiss. She does not like that.
The heart does what the heart does, Glenn. He can't control who he likes.
She asks him to leave, which he does.
In the real world, say 2 years later, she's at the Viper Room or wherever in LA. She sees Charlie Sheen there, and she also sees the hamster, Corey Haim. Who does she go after?
Corey Haim.
Yes.
Yeah. Not even a question.
Okay.
So he demands she leaves. We have a weird scene where he's like, I don't know, playing with toads and frog. I don't know. But anyway, the football game's finally happening. They're playing Rockford, Illinois. Rockford has some cheerleaders. Boy, do they have some cheerleaders. Those cheerleaders, actually in real life, the Chicago Bears cheerleaders.
The Honey Bears?
The Honey Bears.
The Bears have only been in one Super Bowl since they stopped having the Honey Bears be their cheerleaders. They don't have cheerleaders anymore.
Well, only had one Super Bowl before they had the Honey Bears.
Well, whatever. But it's just like the Packers. It's cold as shit there, and they got cheerleaders. How come the Bears can't have cheerleaders?
So, back to the movie. So they're playing Rockford. Rockford is just killing them. Like Rockford's just destroying.
Well, it feels like this is a third-rate coach at a second-rate school, and this football coach pretty much sucks. So Lucas decides that he's just going to go play.
So Lucas suits up, runs onto the football field, doesn't know what he's doing, gets run over a couple times. They try to get him off the field, and he refuses to leave. So finally, we're down to the play. Now, by the way, this is not like a game-winning situation. Like, they had no chance of winning. But Lucas is wide open, 60 yards downfield. Somehow, everyone's telling Bruno to pass it to Lucas except for the coach. He's saying no. Somehow Bruno throws it 60 yards to a wide open Lucas, who then catches it and drops it. If they instant replayed that thing, that would have been an incomplete pass. But it did not work for the movie. So,
and then all of a sudden, it's coming back the other way.
They rule it a fumble. Going back the other way, Lucas is literally riding the guy downfield, holding on to him. Lucas threw his helmet off, by the way, to catch the ball. You don't see that happen a lot, where he just takes his football helmet off to catch it.
He can't see very well, Glenn.
And then Lucas gets at least a concussion at a minimum.
He was definitely. I would say he's concussed. He doesn't have CTE yet, but he definitely is concussed.
He is on the ground. His glasses are broken. He's bleeding. Ambulance arrives. Winona, Red, and Charlie Sheen decide they're going to go find Lucas's parents.
That's not where Lucas lives.
Red drives to the mansion she thought Lucas lived in, and Winona's like, no, he lives in the trailer. So they go to this beat-down trailer park. They knock on the door. Dad's not there, but then Winona's like, yeah, he's like a drunk. He always embarrasses Lucas. And that's when Red, I think, really starts to understand Lucas. Like, everything that Lucas is a mask. Like, he wears all these masks to try to like not live in reality, because his reality sucks. He lives in a rundown trailer park. His dad's a drunk. He's made fun of at school. He's and we didn't mention this, but he's young for high school, but he's accelerated or whatever. That was covered in the first couple minutes of the movie. So you have this young kid in a grown up, in a grown up world, trying to fit in and just getting beat down. So he lies, he makes up stories, and that's the first time I think Red puts it all together. I think she had a pretty good beat on who he is, but now everything kind of goes back. So we cut to the hospital.
At this point, do you think she would still make out with Lucas, or should she? Okay, fine.
They go to the hospital, cut to the waiting room. It's full of students. So, people do care about Lucas, and they go to his room eventually with Red, and they talk for a few minutes. And then he gives, I think, I don't know, kind of one of the pivotal lines in the movie, like all this locust stuff throughout the movie, all led to this one line, which is, I was just thinking, when the locusts come back in 17 years, where will we be? Will we still be friends? At that point, it's just like, okay.
We are who you want us to be, Glenn.
We are who you want us to be.
Exactly.
So next scene is Lucas arriving back at school. Everyone's like watching him. Everyone's on edge a little. We know the football captain, Bruno, is like looking for him. And like when Lucas opens his locker, he realizes everyone's looking at him, but he just kind of ignores it. He's used to being looked at. He opens his locker, and there's the Letterman jacket in Niagara Falls, Mikey. Niagara Falls. I tear up.
Frankie Angel.
Niagara Falls, Frankie Angel. What a! I don't know why that gets me, but he opens the door, his Letterman jacket with his number and his name. Like, that's all Lucas wanted, was just to fit in. Slow clap.
And you're like, and then I remember watching him like, whoa, this is a little over the top. Another slow clap, and it is an 80s movie, and it's
right. 80s movies are allowed to have as many slow claps as they want. But he gets the Letterman jacket, Niagara Falls. And this, for some reason in my memory of watching this movie, Lucas ended up with Winona Ryder. I guess he didn't. Maybe it's implied that he would. But for some reason, I remember them like all walking off together, like the four of them. I don't know why. I think they should have had a scene that included that, but whatever. Winona Ryder went on the next year to go kill people in her new high school in Heathers, and Corey Haim went on to get a driver's license, or not get a driver's license, and then be a vampire and then die.
Before we move on, Roger Ebert gave this film 4 out of 4 stars, calling it it's a film about teenagers who are looking how to be good with each other, to care, to simply be filled, not to just be simply filled with egotism, lust, and selfishness, which is all these other most Hollywood movies think teenagers can experience. It's just lust and selfishness. It seems like he really liked it. It's in his top films of 1986.
Now, Joe L is a frequent contributor. Oh, it looks like he just changed his Facebook name. Anyway, we got a message from frequent contributor on our Facebook page, Joe L, who saw that we were doing this movie, and he interviewed someone a few years ago for a story. But anyway, the person he interviewed mentioned how this was like at her high school, and like watching her high school on film was so surreal. Could you imagine we went to the same high school. Could you imagine like going to see a movie a couple years later, and then like there's like your high school just being on screen? That'd be awesome.
It'd be kind of cool, but yeah,
that's never gonna happen. Our high school's torn. At least my high school.
It's torn to ground.
Whatever.
My grandpa went to that high school, Glenn.
I know. Well, you went to my high school for a year.
You went to your high school for 2 years?
3 years.
3, whatever.
I graduated quickly. That's what I'm saying.
That's just accelerate. No big deal.
No big deal.
Joe L, he said that the person that he's interviewing for an article said that it was crazy seeing the high school on the big screen. Sorry, it wasn't that amazing, but I had to pass it on to you.
No, we always appreciate anything.
Thanks, Joel. We appreciate it.
And remember, if you guys want to win this copy of Summer School, starring Mark Carmen Christie, all you got to do is email us at hosts@awesome80s.com and tell us whether you loved or hated Lucas, or what your reasons are for either. It can be 1 sentence. It could be 100 sentences. I don't care. I'm bored. So just send that, and then we'll email the winner and send them this awesome copy of Summer School along with some awesome 80s swag.
We do have stickers too. So if you email us at host@theawesome80s, we have stickers. We got stamps. We're ready to go. I got the forever stamp, so we're good to go.
All right, good thinking.
I have been marinating about Heathers for the last week and a half, and it feels like there are parallels between that and the Breakfast Club to a certain extent. Like, it feels like John Hughes was kind of giving the finger to the high schools. Like, this is how high schools are. This is the dynamics here, because he broke people up into the different groups or the different subsections that were in study hall that Saturday morning. And it kind of felt like with Heathers, the writer was also kind of giving his finger to the high school, but it was more intense. It was like, John Hughes, you went this far. You know what? I'm going to go this far. And it's just like, man, the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, the writer from Heathers had to have been a fan of Breakfast Club, and he had to have been like, you know what? It was good, but I could do you one better.
So we want to thank all of our listeners again. We thank many of our contributors earlier in the show. If you want to go back, you can find us on the iTunes under Awesome 80s Podcast. Leave a comment on there. Once again, we're also available through video. That's the audio version through video on our Google Plus and YouTube channels. We also have the awesome80s.net, and find us on the Facebook and at Twitter at Awesome 80s Pod. So Fatal Attraction next up with special guest star Liz. We're looking forward to that. Looking forward to having Liz back in the fold. It's been a couple years, I think, since we've had her back. I think
Yep.
Peggy Sue got married.
Yeah.
So looking forward to having her back in our life.
Also, 1-1 in fantasy football. Lost to MF Jones last week, and I think I play your wife this week. And also in real football, we played the Seahawks.
Yeah, I want to talk about the real football because then we're just going to hear it from Mark H. And
Okay.
But I'm also 1-1 in this particular league in fantasy football, so looking forward to some domination this week. Looking forward to my wife kicking your ass. And Fatal Attraction, I think that's about all. I think that's all I got
so
there.
we're not saving it for Valentine's Day.
No, we have plenty of.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, watching. We hope you enjoyed yet another edition. Next week, Fatal Attraction. Watch it. Get ready for it. Prepare for it. We're coming at you. This is Lawrence.
This is Michael.
Oh, real quick.
God damn it.
The Back to the Future cruise. I don't know if you can still register. I think you can do a rate registration. I think it's bttfcruise.com. Otherwise, just Google Back to the Future Cruise. Our good friend of the show, Jeffrey, is putting it on. Jeffrey played Michael J. Fox's father in the second and third editions of Back to the Future. He's also had a great episode if you want to go through our back catalog on our YouTube or via iTunes and check out that episode. Great episode, lots of insights about Back to the Future. If you're interested at all in this cruise, I know on the cruise also past guest Donald Fola, who played Mater Goalie Wilson. Another great episode if you want to go back through our archives. Check it out. This is Lawrence.
This is Michael.
Don't fuck with the babysitter.
Don't. Stay awesome, everybody.
Stay awesome, everybody.